So, can I go back and start over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, guys, I'm going to start over, okay, so I can edit this out because this is embarrassing. Okay, I'm going to start over. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to Do You Believe on ParanormalZoneTV. I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. And we got a great show tonight. I have Dave Spinks with us tonight. He is a dear friend of mine and he has written some really awesome books. He has a website, Dave Spinks, ParanormalInvestigator.com, and here's a list of some of his books, and these books can be purchased on Amazon. Now tonight our show is on famous curses, and Dave will soon have another book published on that topic, and that's why we're doing the show tonight. Also, Dave has been appeared on so many fabulous paranormal shows, and I'm showing you just a few. I couldn't get any more in here. He's on TV all the time. So with that, let's welcome Dave to the show. Hey, Dave, thanks so much for being here with us tonight.
Hey, Norene, it's been a while.
Well, it has, but we'll be doing more. So tonight we are going to do famous curses. And like I said, Dave will be having a book out soon to be published with famous curses. And we're just going to pick out a few tonight. And what I wanted to start with was, which I've never heard of before, is the 27 Club. So Dave, do you want to tell the viewers about that?
Yeah, first of all, I got to say, I was fascinated with curses, and it all started as a young boy with me when I first started reading about King Tut and the curse of King Tut and the curse of the mummies and all that stuff. I've always been fascinated with curses and, the whole thing with it. We know that curses, they are as old as man. It's, as recorded man anyway, because a curse can be as simple as you cursing at someone, saying F you, or I hope you die. That's technically a curse. There's also many other types of curses. Objects can be cursed. A curse placed upon an object, for example. Also, there are many types of curses, such as blood ritual curses and voodoo curses and other things that can be placed upon people. And we know that in the paranormal world, we know that words and intentions are powerful things sometimes, and they can affect people in various ways. Now, that's not to say that everything is a curse, and if someone curses at you that you're going to die the next day or something to that effect. But it's very strange and coincidental that in a lot of these cases, when someone is cursed or someone comes across a so-called cursed object, that bad things befall them. So in the paranormal genre, in the paranormal world, we have to take a look at these things because it's all interrelated, and it's fascinating to me. So I thought, I recently have talked about some of these subjects on new episodes of The Unexplained on the History Channel that'll be coming up soon. And I'm writing a book about it. So probably a series of books just on curses alone, because there's so many things and topics you can cover that fall under the whole curses realm. So it's pretty fascinating stuff. So with that being said, we'll talk about the famous curse, the 27 curse. It's fascinating stuff to me, and there's this whole legend and it's actually called the 27 Club, really. There's this whole legend of all these rock musicians, actors, famous people that all succumb to crazy deaths at a very young age, at the age of 27. And of course, we could spend an entire 4 hours or more talking about all the famous people that have died at the age of 27 that were famous, Hollywood icons, musicians, and everything else. But we'll cover a few of the most famous ones tonight for the show. The first one, this whole thing came about after some people, started saying, wait a minute, so-and-so died at 27, this musician, and then they kind of put it together, and it got the label the 27 Club. So the first one was Johnson death. Now, Robert Johnson was a young black musician, and when he was first presenting himself as a musician, he was labeled as a mediocre type musician. You know, he was playing blues and everything else. And he disappeared for several months, and no one knew what happened to him. And when he came back, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Some say he went off to learn and everything else, but others say that he met the devil at the crossroads and sold his soul to the devil to become a famous musician. And, you know, he blew it up, basically. He was very famous, very well-known musician in the blues world, and he died at the age of 27. And it all started with him, and it's fascinating to me because it goes to the old devils in the crossroads. And, you know, there's been movies made about that about how all these musicians meet the devil at the crossroads, sell their soul for, for fame and fortune, and then they die a tragic death when the devil comes to collect. Another famous musician, I have a whole list here, so I just want to cover some of them. Jimi Hendrix is another one, and we all know about Jimi Hendrix. He was just budding in his career, and he was becoming famous very quickly, and he also died at 27. If you don't know who Jimi Hendrix is, I don't know where you've been in the last half century. So, Brian Jones, one of the founding members of the Rolling Stones, also died at 27 as well. And we all know who the Rolling Stones are. And he was a founding member of that band, and he died, and he had to be replaced. So, Jimmy, and a lot of these folks, died of drug overdoses and whatnot, you guys. So, and we all know in, the music scene, drugs are prevalent, but it's very coincidental that all these people died at the age of 27. So is there something supernatural going on here with the whole, they sold their soul to the devil type thing or something like that? We don't know, but it sure is coincidental when you take a hard look at it. Yeah. So, Janis Joplin, another famous female, this one was a female musician, died, she was a known alcoholic and drug abuser, but she died at 27 too. Another huge one, Jim Morrison. These are icons of the music industry, folks. There's just tons. The list goes on and on. Another guy named Alan Wilson. And then, of course, Kurt Cobain in more modern times. So all these musicians died at 27. Is it pure coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Is it the curse of, selling your soul to the devil for fame and fortune? So and it's not just musicians, guys. It's actors. There's a lot of actors, and we could go. Like I said, we could go over the many, many people. Amy Winehouse, 2011, up and coming female musician, another one who died at the age of 27. So you can look it up. You can Google that topic, and it's fascinating stuff. Now, every one of these musicians, there was drugs and stuff involved. So if someone sold their soul to the devil for fame and fortune, could it be that the devil was influencing them to use drugs and alcohol so he can come and collect their souls quicker at a younger age? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? So it's fascinating stuff. And I'll cover a lot more of that stuff in my book and whatnot, but for Norene's show, we wanted to cover a few of the real famous ones. And there's actors. It's a list. You can get page after page, and you can find all these famous people that have died at the age of 27. Oh,
yeah, and besides drugs, committing suicide as well.
Yeah, suicide's another one.
Murders, suicide. Let's see.
Murder, suicide. Yeah, Sid Vicious was one. He was a British punk guy. There's a whole bunch of them, man.
I know. I've got 2 pages, and whoever put it in Wikipedia, they ended. The last one that's posted in Wikipedia was 1978, but there was more than that because Kurt.
There's way more.
Oh yeah, I found something on the internet doing my research on this Club 27 because I was so fascinated with it. Can I just tell you what I just want to add a little bit. Now, this is conspiracy. Okay, this is conspiracy. So Kurt Cobain died in 1994 at the age of 27. And the idea of the 27 Club began to catch on in the public eye. According to Hendrix and Cobain's biographer Charles R. Cross, the growing importance of the media, internet, magazines, and television, and the response to an interview from Cobain's mother, and she actually said, well, he made the 27 Club during that interview. Cobain's mother said that his two uncles and his great uncle all committed suicide, Dave. And events have led to a set of conspiracy theorists to absorb notion that Kurt Cobain intentionally timed his death so he could join the 27 Club. And in 2011, 17 years after Cobain's death, Amy Winehouse, who was a singer, died at the age of 27, and prompting a renewed attention to the club once again. And 3 years earlier, they said she had expressed a fear of dying at the age of 27. Had you ever heard that before?
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds. Each person has their own stories when it comes to this 27 Club, and it's very in depth. I mean, we could go for hours just on this topic, literally. There's also several famous athletes who died at the age of 27 as well. So, I mean, you can get into it really deep, but, I mean, look it up, guys. I mean, it's fascinating stuff.
Oh, it is.
In my book, I'll have some that you've never really even heard of and tied it in even farther. So, I'll tell you one, an actor, Jonathan Brandis, he's an actor who's on all kind of TV shows and stuff, and he also died at the age of 27. There's a whole bunch of them. He died in 2003. Another guy, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but he's an actor too. He was up and coming. And then he kind of slowed down for a little bit. I think he was on that show Tool Time or whatever the one was with, and he got out of his Jeep one day, was walking back to his house, and the Jeep rolled back, smashing him against the fence at the age of 27, killing him.
That's the kid that was in Star Wars. Anton's had a Russian last name. I love that kid. He was in.
No, he was in Star Trek. Anton Yelchin.
It was no, it was Empires. The Empire movies. Was it Star Trek? No, was it? I can't remember. It was I think it was Star Trek movies.
That's what I said.
Star Trek. Yeah. I loved that kid. He's been in a lot of movies since he was a little kid. Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe that he was part of that 27 Club. I didn't know that. It's really sad.
He was also he first became known in 2002. He was in Steven Spielberg's show, the Miniseries, a Minisery fiction show by Steven Spielberg called Taken. He was in that, and then he was in the Star Trek movies, and at 27 years old, what are the odds that you walk out of your vehicle, it rolls back, smashes you against the fence of your house, and you stay there and suffocate to death?
Oh my God, I know.
That's freaky stuff.
I know.
So, and the list goes on and on and on. So, I mean, it's just, is there something to it? It seems to be, to me.
I know, Dave, it does, huh?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy when you look at it. And, if you watch the news and you watch different things on YouTube and different things, there's all this conspiracy talk all the time of all these actors and musicians who are into Satanism and worshiping the devil and stuff, and there's all this conspiracy stuff that's talked about. So if you take a hard look at some of these people, and they're all dying at the age of 27, what is the significance between that and that? Is it interrelated? Is that what's really going on with some of these people? And all of a sudden the devil comes to collect at age 27 for whatever reason. That's very bizarre stuff.
These actors and singers and whatever, they all want to be famous. There for a while, this conspiracy thing was going around, Dave, where people were saying that many of these actors and singers sold their soul to the devil so they could be famous.
Right, that's what I was.
And that's what you were saying. I
mean,
know.
That's what the word is, And there's been other celebrities that have even talked about it. John Goodman talked about it on a talk show one time. Several other people have too, and some of them have said, that we were all asked to join these certain groups of people, and we declined, and some of our careers were influenced badly because of it, because we didn't join these groups or covens of people and whatnot. So, there's something going on there.
I know. I totally agree with you, Dave. I totally agree with you. Do you want to move on to the next one, honey, now?
Sure.
The crying boy.
Oh, man. This one is some fascinating stuff, man. So the crying boy painting, I'm not good with names on the top of my head, so I got to look at my note here. All right, because this guy, he's got a long name. The painting was created by a guy named Giovanni Bragolin. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right.
No, I pronounce it that way too.
Yeah, so he created this whole series of paintings. He was fascinated with children crying, right? And he created these paintings of these little boys crying in the 1950s. And they were printed, the paintings were reproduced over and over, and they were going, people loved them, because he captured the essence of a little boy crying in these paintings, and they look real, almost like pictures that were taken with a camera. And in many instances from the 50s on, strange occurrences started happening in people's homes that had these paintings. A lot of fires happened. People died, and it was said that these paintings were some kind of catalyst, or they were like demonically possessed with the energy of these children when they were painted, and they were actually going out and hurting people that put the paintings in their houses. And it got to a mass hysteria at some point, so much so that, and I remember seeing these paintings in people's houses growing up, because they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And almost everyone had one, a reproduction of the paintings. And it got to the point where people were starting to say, wait a minute, that house had that painting, that house, and somebody put it together down the line, and whole towns were gathering up these pictures and putting them in piles and burning them. And in 1985, like it says in some of my notes here, because when I'm putting this stuff into a book, so I have a lot of notes on it. When the distributing news related to the paintings about the fires, and it just when the news started talking about it, it went like mass hysteria, and people were getting those paintings out of their homes, like I said, and just having these big bonfires and whatnot. And they thought that, like I said, they were bringing priests in, and they were doing all this different stuff, and this was happening at different places in the country too. It just went like national news and stuff, and there was mass panic. People were freaking out, and they started burning all the paintings and whatnot. And I forget how many. I mean, let me look at my notes here.
They said there was over 50,000 different paint, but it wasn't only just that one. There were different forms of the crying baby. There was over 50,000 of them.
Yeah, like I said, he painted different ones and stuff, and so there was this guy did an investigation on the painting to try to figure out if they were really cursed and whatnot. And some of the fires, were pure coincidental, and because they sent in fire inspectors and stuff, and they weeded them out. But in most of the cases, they could not find a natural cause for caused the fire in that particular house, like, faulty wiring or whatever the case may be. And there was priests and stuff like that, and then, so they, there was many different so-called experts that were brought in, and they were trying to see if these paintings were demonically possessed or, cursed of some sort, but they could never really find anything out. And the guy really, he kind of lost his, he lost his money because of all this, and nobody would buy these paintings anymore, and most of them, from what I read about and researched about, a lot of the paintings were destroyed, and you can't hardly find one now. So there's some of the original ones left that are owned in private collections and stuff. So paranormally wise, we go to an object such as these paintings. Was this painter, was this artist, did he have some kind of attachment? And did that attachment influence him to paint these paintings with malintent, if you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Did his energy that was negative in nature go into these paintings through some kind of demonic possession? And when all these, if you think about it, what kind of conduit would that be if you had some type of demon that influenced, entered in energy-wise into these paintings, and they were put into everyone's homes, and then they could influence those people in those homes and start fires and do all this crazy stuff that killed people.
Dave, I found an article from 2006 from a Rodrigo Ferrara from Brazil. Yeah. And did you see that he wrote that Giovanni Bragallone's paintings were associated with terror and illness, and that all 28 paintings represented dead children. It also was reported in Brazil that Bragallone had made a pact with the devil in order to sell his paintings. There you go. There was a.
That's what I'm talking about. If he made a pact with the devil, like it says, we don't know that for sure, but that's what the word is, right?
Yeah.
So that energy, here we go again with that intent, just like the musicians, is influenced into those paintings and put into people's homes that causes bad things to happen. So that's, because I look at everything, all these things from a paranormal standpoint, so you have to kind of dissect it down and try to be like, wow, okay, there is a connection there. Just like you said in the article, it was written that he made a deal with the devil for fame and fortune. Same type of scenario, So it's fascinating stuff. It's a type of a curse, so that's why we're looking at it tonight.
They also, I found that it said that that crying boy painting was mass produced. The subject of the boy ranged in ages from 4 to 10. His clothing and the painting style differed depending on what period the artist has set himself in. And the Jinx story seems to have been started by The Sun, a British tabloid, in 1985. And they said that the boy was a gypsy whose family placed the curse. The boy was an orphan. The boy himself had died in a fire.
Yeah, so a lot of times we know that the people that are involved with this stuff don't want you to know that they're having dealings with satanic type things, so they try to cover it up. And gypsies do not like their picture taken. So if he did in fact take a picture of the little boy and the gypsies knew about it, and they are known for putting curses on people. So there you go.
Okay, I have another story on this. That tabloid in Britain posted on March 20th in 1986 that Bob Cherry from Glasgow, he claimed he rescued the crying boy and it brought him nothing but good luck. One day when he was in his car had broken down, and he noticed one of those paintings. It was in a dustbin. He put the picture in his car, and the vehicle so the car had broken down. But when he put the picture of the crying boy in his car, he was able to start the car up with no problem. And within a week of rescuing that painting, he said that he won money in bingo. He won money on football pools, and he also won money in a slot machine. Now, that was the only story that was ever posted about somebody having good luck from that painting.
Yeah, and the whole story of the original stories with the bad luck and stuff, they kind of would have went to the wayside. But a fireman, in the midst of all these strange fires, a fire inspector noticed that he had been a part of 15 different fire calls, and all those 15 houses had the Crying Boy painting in it.
Yep.
So he's the one that said, "Whoa, wait a minute here. There's a weird connection going on." And then I have many examples. Like a woman in England had bought the painting, and 6 months later, her house went up in flames.
Yeah.
And then there's two sisters in Kilburn had fires in their homes after buying a copy of the painting. One sister claimed to have seen her painting sway backwards and forwards on the wall before the fire.
Yeah.
So, and there's all kinds of accounts from these people that had these fires and stuff in there. So, it seems like it's some sort of supernatural something going on here with these Crying Boy paintings to me anyway. When you put all those different things together, I mean, there's no such thing in my book as that many coincidences. I mean, there's definitely something paranormal or supernatural occurring there.
Now, they also said, Dave, that when these fires occurred, that painting, everything else around the painting got destroyed except the painting of the Crying Boy.
Yeah, and that happened in a lot of occasions, too, during these fires.
Yeah.
A lot of times the painting was virtually untouched and the whole house was burned down.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy if you think about it.
Absolutely. That's a fabulous story. I love it. And I got to find my list. Okay. You want to do the next one now? Are you ready?
Fine.
Okay, let's go to the Jersey Devil. And I have to tell you, Dave, I went to the Pine Barrens years ago.
Yes.
And my relatives took me there, and I didn't know anything about the Pine Barrens. I didn't know anything about the Jersey Devil, and they took me to a house that you were able to walk in, but I had no idea what I was even looking at. And I think it was that house that they had on display. It was the Leeds house.
Yeah. So a lot of people think the Jersey Devil is just a cryptid type animal, but there's a whole curse behind this thing. And the Pine Barrens are a vast expanse of land in New Jersey. When I was a kid, I used to live up there. I was a little kid, 5, 6 years old, and I actually had gone hunting several times with my stepdad in the Pine Barrens, and of course I didn't know at the time it was the Pine Barrens and what all went on in that place. But there's so many different tales and stories of cryptid type creatures, UFOs, and hauntings all throughout the Pine Barrens. It's a huge, vast expanse of land. Virtually no one lives out in there. That people live on the fringes of it, and there's a few towns and stuff that used to be in there, but they're just decrepit and no one lives there. They're like ghost towns now. So the curse goes a little something like this as far as the Jersey Devil. So a young girl from Jersey was cursed either by a gypsy or by a gypsy. This is the story now, because she fell in love with a British soldier. And the girl was a resident in the Pine Barrens in one of those old towns I just talked about. And many years later, she became known as Mother Leeds. Now, over her time, she had 12 children. And when she found out that she was pregnant for the 13th time, it's rumored and said that out of frustration, she cursed the 13th child, saying that the child would be the devil, or more specifically, let it be the devil. So, and the story goes on that when the child was born, it had hooven feet. It was a hideous type creature, and she pretty much discarded it and all this stuff, and it just kind of stayed around there, and it was fed and stuff, and then it roams the Pine Barrens, and it can fly, and it looks like a goat. It's got like a goat head and wings and hooven feet, and it has been seen by many people for over hundreds of years now. So it's a pretty freaky story. People have claimed. One hunter, in a story I saw, he was in his tree stand there in the Pine Barrens, and he said that this winged creature with the same type of description as the Jersey Devil came down and grabbed him by the shoulders and tried to fly off with him. So, there's all kinds of accounts from people from all around that area, hunters and people on nature hikes and everything else, that have said they have seen this Jersey Devil creature, and it's still being seen today.
Yeah.
So.
Let me see. Did you know that in 1939, the New Jersey Devil was reportedly named the official state demon?
Yeah, I read that, and it said that it feeds on cattle and all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
and it's a very powerful creature, and lets out just a horrible howling noise to let people know it's near and whatnot. So, then, over the years, it's said to have terrorized many people. It has a crazy scream and around the surrounding rural areas, and and it is also said to have these kind of strange powers that it foretells disasters like shipwrecks and different things like that. That when it's seen, that means that there's some kind of disaster that's going to happen and stuff. But stories are always added to over the years, so
Yeah.
and things are added and taken away. But there's always a lot of truth to some stories, if you listen to them. If you ever did the old trick in school where they started the teacher would tell one student a story, and by the time it got to the end of the room, it was totally different.
Yeah.
So, it's all folklore and stuff like that, and people put their own twists on it and whatnot. So, still, it's fascinating stuff to me because the creatures, the child's own mom cursed it. So, and like I said in the very beginning of the show, words are very powerful and intent is very powerful. And who knows if she put some unforetold curse on this thing and it created some type of demonic creature out of it. It's what we look into as investigators.
They never, I had researched out the Jersey Devil as well, and like you said, it's connected to disasters, but they didn't say if anybody had seen it and then there was a disaster. There was never a story that came out if anybody actually saw it and then the disaster that was declared. They never. Did you find anything on that?
Not specifically. I know it said it's been. I mean, not with people's names specifically and stuff, but it's been the stuff I uncovered about it. It said many people have seen the devil, and then soon after a disaster would happen. So it's foretold that when it's seen that a disaster like a shipwreck and many people died, or different things, fires and different things like that. But it's the same thing with the Mothman here in West Virginia. It's one of those things that is said about this creature. When it shows up, that means there's an impending disaster going to happen. So, in the Jersey Devil and the Mothman are kind of similar, where they're man-sized winged creatures, and when they're seen, crazy things happen right afterwards.
Yeah.
Could be the same type of creature. So
I did find a little article, and there was a famous week in January of 1909 that took the story of the devil from folk belief to authentic folk legend. 30 different sightings in 1 year, in 1 week period, told of the devil sailing across the Delaware River to Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and newspaper articles created a near panic in the region. And why Dave, that 1 week in 1909? I wonder what was going on to cause that.
Well, you can line it up and see if there's any crazy disasters in those areas during that week. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give too much information on my book away.
Oh.
So that there is some stuff related to that with that whole week of sightings. So check it out. It's just like, it's very similar to the Mothman in a lot of ways. People see these creatures, and then all of a sudden, with the Mothman, he had the whole bridge collapse and 46 people died, and and this thing was seen for months up before the tragedy happened.
I love the Mothman.
If it's a demonic creature, and if you go way back into ancient times, there's a winged creature that was a demonic creature called Pazuzu.
Oh yeah.
A man-sized creature that had wings, and whenever this thing was seen, death and destruction happened. So it is the Mothman, is the Jersey Devil, a similar type of demonic winged creature that its mission is to go out and then be seen and bring doom and gloom. I don't know, but it seems to correlate with some of the things that happen after these sightings of these creatures.
Yeah. Mothman is one of my very, very favorite topics. I love the Mothman. And you wrote about the Mothman in your book, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in my UFO book, because it correlated with a ton of UFO sightings. But, speaking of curses right here in West Virginia, and I didn't touch base with you on this because it kind of, spaced off a little bit, is you have the whole curse of it's called the Chief Cornstalk curse, okay? So I'll give you you want to hear that real quick?
Yeah, I wish you had told me about that. I would have showed him a picture.
Yeah, I forgot to give you the list on it, but I forgot to put it on the list. So right here in the Point Pleasant area, where all the Mothman sightings happen, and across the Ohio River right there in Gallipolis. So back in the days before the Revolution and stuff, there was all these Indian and wars with the white settlers and everything, and the British soldiers were here. We had British soldiers here, and they were warring with the white settlers. Well, there was this big, this chief named Chief Cornstalk was the leader of the Native American tribes up in that area, and they basically offered him a peace deal, if he would come in and talk and everything. Well, the whole thing turned out to be a setup, and when they got there, they killed him. And as they were shooting him dead, he cursed the whole Ohio Valley, and this is a factual thing. And all the way up and down the Ohio River Valley, there's all these crazy things that happen, UFO sightings, the Mothman stuff, there's strange creatures seen, a lot of hauntings all up and down the river there. So many believe that when he cursed the Ohio River Valley, because they basically set him up and killed him to prove a point that, they were going to take out the leader of all the natives there, and he cursed everybody in the whole area. And there's been many disasters up there, mine disasters, boating disasters with the barges that carry the coal and everything else. I mean, tons of different stuff. Massive floods, killing all kinds of people on the river right there. So many feel that his curse is still active today and causes these things to happen because he was, lied to and killed by the white settlers and the soldiers there. And it's a fascinating thing. And in that whole area, you have Moundsville Penitentiary, you have the Native American mounds. The whole town of Moundsville is built on Native American burial grounds and city. It was a massive city complex at one time. So you got all this different stuff going on, and all these supernatural things happen at the same time. And many think that the curse of Chief Cornstalk has a lot to do with all that stuff.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Hey, okay, so let's do the Hope Diamond. Let me see if I can find it, Dave. Oh, here it is. Now tell them about this, Hope Diamond.
The Hope Diamond is a very well-known piece of history, It's a blue diamond, the biggest one ever found. It was found in some sort of, it was found in India, in a mine, obviously. And the reason it has the blue tint is because it was actually trapped underground with, and was infiltrated by a substance called boron, which gives it its blue tint. And it was much bigger than it when it was first found than it is today. It was later cut down. And this diamond has changed hands many, many times. I mean, it's throughout history. And a lot of the people that have owned this diamond have had crazy stuff happen. Children died in car accidents. It was once owned by Louis XIV and Marie Antoinette and her husband. And, of course, we all know their story. They were beheaded during the French Revolution. And it's just changed hands many, many different times. But when it was said that the guy who stole it, it was like an idol. It was sitting on top of this idol in India, and this guy went in and he stole it, right? So when he stole it, he went and sold it to the French for a big sum of money, and it was said that he was eaten alive by a group of dogs in Russia. And right after he sold this diamond for a hefty profit, but it was later found out that was all false, and that he lived to be 76 years old, and lived a happy life, you know. So with the whole diamond, I mean, if you Google it, there is just a ton of information on it. So it said that it was, it made its debut in Europe in 1642 after it was stolen, and was bought by a French merchant who sold it to King Louis XIV. I'm trying to make sure I got my facts here, so I'm skimming my notes. And it was said that he shortly died by a pack of dogs eating him. But like I said, later found out that that was not true. The diamond stayed with the French royal family until it was stolen in 1792 during the French Revolution. And then another King Louis and Marie Antoinette were beheaded, like I said. And then it was stolen during the French Revolution, and it was said it was to be sold by Britain's King George IV, and who, soon after he bought the diamond and owned it, he went financially ruined and bankrupt. It was thought that he was a rabid gambler and whatnot, and he had to sell the diamond off later because to cover all his debts, he was virtually bankrupting the royal family in Britain with his lavish spending and gambling and everything. Then, when he sold it to a guy named Henry Thomas Hope, and that's how it got its name, the Hope Diamond. Now, the Hopes also had some crazy stuff happen to them. Let's see. After Hope's death, he died after purchasing the diamond, but I don't think it's due to the diamond or any strange, weird things. But it passed through several other people's hands during that time. And it says that the misfortunes that were like attributed to the people that owned this diamond, they had suicides, there was murders, there was all kinds of strange deaths. One woman's child was killed in a car accident at 9, and she lost another child to a strange, unknown sickness that they didn't know about at the time. And it seems that everyone that came into contact with this thing suffered tremendously. Failed marriages, dead children, drug addictions, insanity, and probably just a plethora of other things happened to these people. So they think that later in the 1800s that some of these stories were made up in the hopes of selling the diamond, okay? Because they said, well, if you buy the diamond, good things are going to happen to you. Because, which to me makes no sense. If some object has this much bad stuff associated with it, I don't want any part of it, personally. So I know later on that it was sold to Cartier Diamonds, and this woman, her name was Mary. She wanted it, but she didn't like the setting it was in. So this Cartier is a very famous diamond name. So it had already been cut down. So he put a whole new setting on this thing, and the thing is like the size of an acorn. And I've actually stood right next to it on two different occasions.
Yeah, I have a picture of you. You took a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it in the Smithsonian Smithsonian, and I tried really hard to let them. I wanted to take an EMF meter in and stuff, but they wouldn't let me.
Oh.
Security guards. I was like, look, and because it's, I mean, this thing is worth $250 million, guys. I mean, it's unreal how much money it's worth, and it's the biggest dime, and the thing is, when you stand there next to it, it has a kind of a foreboding look to it, man. Really, it does, and it's got a weird vibe with it, and it's in this big glass case. This case that's surrounded by touch sensors, heat alarms, and everything else. It's fascinating stuff. To see the security, whoa, that was bright.
Oh, now, hey, Dave, you're dark, honey. We can't see you.
There, I fixed it. So, with the whole diamond, it's just one of those things one of those objects that carries this baggage with it, with all these people that have had these crazy, just life-altering events after they own this thing, with children's deaths, suicides. One family that owned it, the husband was put into an insane asylum. They lost 2 children, and the other woman, she ended up committing suicide too, the wife, because she had so much tragic things happen to her after owning this thing. She just killed herself.
Wow.
So I'll give you a little background on the diamond itself. They speculate, or because they know a lot about how diamonds form now. They said it formed about 1.1 billion years ago.
Wow.
And it has boron in it, which gives it this blue color. And the curse part of it started with, according to legends, because how it was stolen from an Indian god, was sitting on top of this Indian god thing, and this guy stole it for profit. And it said that he was immediately, a curse was placed upon him. But we found out later that was all made up because they wanted to sell the diamonds, and gave it this whole crazy history. It used to be called the French Blue instead of the Hope Diamond. It was only called the Hope Diamond after the Hope family bought it. And the thing is that many other families that own this thing had tragedy befall them after they bought the diamond. So can objects be cursed? I think they can, but I also think that maybe people's intentions sometimes affect that sort of thing. So if you're a bad person, maybe bad things will befall you. If you're a good person, maybe good things happen to you. I don't know. But that's one thing we look at with curses in general. Now, one family, a kid named Vincent, who was the first son of the McLean family, who the McLean family had owned the diamond, died at the age of 9 because of the car crash. That's the one I told you about. And then at the age of 25, the McLean's daughter, she committed suicide. And then McLean's husband was committed into an insane asylum after that. So that whole family had all kind of bizarre stuff happen to them. Was this the curse in action? Possibly. It may have been. I don't know. Like I said, to me, when there's this many coincidences, it's not really coincidence. And the story also said about this guy that stole it, John Baptiste.
Uh-oh. Oh, damn. Wait a minute. Okay, just a second. Dave's got to reconnect. Oh, come on, Dave. Dave, we don't see your video. Oh, there you go.
Signal?
Yeah, you came back on. It's blurry. Okay. Oh man, you're freezing up.
You got me?
Yeah, it's frozen. There you go. Well, yeah, the signals.
How about now?
It keep freezing up, honey.
It's 30-second delay.
Doing the curses tonight. It sure has affected us.
Yeah,
Your image is frozen. Your video is frozen.
All right, let me hang. Can you call me back then?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna call Dave back. Hold on. Oh, man. Doing live shows. Whoops. Okay. Your video is still frozen, honey.
That's bizarre.
Weird, huh?
Yeah, can you hear?
Yeah, it's a little okay. So you came back up. Ah, it's weird. Okay.
Check 1, 2.
Yeah, it's kind of sticky. You know, it sticks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just go ahead and talk because your audio is coming through. We still see you, but it's frozen. Uh-oh.
So.
No.
What?
Okay. The audio isn't good, honey. Okay. Now try it.
I got max signal. Yeah, I got max bars. I got full signal. So.
Well, I mean, your image. We can hear your image is frozen, but go ahead and talk because we still see your face. Whoops! What happened? You should see the look that froze.
That's all right.
Okay, now look straight at the camera. So,
Where are we now?
go ahead and talk.
All right. So after King Louis XIV fought from Sampiere, he died of gangrene, and so did all of his children, his legitimate children, except for one. So, so if you think that, you know, that goes way back to right after it was stolen. So, you know, did the curse start there from the stolen, and then affected the first person who?
Did they say so? That all the children died except one. Did they ever follow that one child that survived? What happened to it?
Didn't give any more history on that, but he died of gangrene right after he got it, and so did all the children for one. So that's kind of spooky if you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
So, you know, it has many stories with people supposedly being affected by it. So, like I said, I've stood by it twice now, tried to investigate it. Of course, they wouldn't let me. But it was still cool actually seeing a diamond that's like that big.
So when you know,
diamonds around it are worth.
Yeah, I went to Smith's. I went there years ago, but I didn't know anything about the Hope Diamond. And, you know, I saw the airplane hanging in the air and all this other stuff, but I don't think I ever saw the Hope Diamond because I didn't know what it was, you know. I didn't pay any attention. I wish I had. So when you were close to that Hope Diamond, Dave, when you were close to that Hope Diamond, did you get any feelings from it?
It had a weird vibe around it, you know. It just felt kind of ominous, to be honest, you know. Because when I went there the first time, I was just there. I didn't go to see the Hope Diamond, but you know, after I was like, man, that thing just got a weird vibe around it, and there wasn't many people there the first time if I can take a EMF meter and see if I can get any readings off of that thing. So, how DC is, it's a madhouse, so, you know, you have to find parking and everything, so I had to park, I was 5 miles away when I parked, and then all the way into the mall there, and then I went, and, you know, I went and talked to the security. This is what I want to do, in front of the camera, you guys can see me, I just want to see if I can pick up any weird readings, because when I first visited this thing, it had a weird vibe to it, and I just wanted to see, told them what it does. I said, you can take it apart and look at it, they're in it, you know, it's just me that picks up EMF fluctuations.
Oh God, I guess so you couldn't.
So I was kind of bummed, but I went in. What?
Okay, so when you were there, I know there's a lot of people there. So if you had taken out your EMF meter, were they watching you that you couldn't do that?
Oh yeah, you can't. You know, nowadays with stuff and everything, you can't take a backpack in or nothing. You know.
Yeah.
And then if I would have taken that device and everything, like, what the heck is this? You know, because the way they look, it's got, and then they were everything. So I went and asked first because I didn't want to get pulled over.
Oh yeah. I know.
What is this? You know,
yeah.
It could have been construed as some kind of explosive device.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I better ask first.
Wow.
But they weren't mean about it. They were just like, hey, we don't know. You need to write him months in advance before you ask to do anything like this. So it was just an idea. I was hoping I could squeak in. And I said, just for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're like, nope. And I even had, I took everything, and they still wouldn't let it fly. So.
Oh, that's too
but
bad.
if you ever go there and you haven't been there and seen, it's pretty cool, man. You know, and just the behind that thing and all the famous and historical figures that have had, had that in their possession at one time are pretty amazing. There's energy attached to that diamond as well. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had paid more attention when I went. So let's do. Okay, now this is really interesting. What?
We know that. A lot of these personal items that are owned by people can often carry energy, whether it's negative or positive or good or bad. You know. These objects carry this person's energy, and if that's someone's favorite, you know, imagine the energy that can be attached to, and it could be anything, a piano, a favorite comb, you know, my good friend John Zappis, you know, they call him the haunted, because that's his one of his primary focuses is finding these items that are haunted, you know, quotation marks, or have energy attached to them. Could be dolls, you know, there's a whole thing with haunted dolls and everything. So, you know, some say these certain dolls are vessels to carry, they're cursed and they carry demonic, so it's all interrelated to the
We lost you. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to do, now this one's crazy. Let's do Friday the 13th curse. Can you hear me? Dave lives out in the woods.
Can you hear me?
Not yet. It's...
No, I have max bars. It's not me, it's Skype.
Oh, probably, yeah. Yeah, Skype says it's a... Yeah. All right, well...
Hey, I mean, I'm literally not even... I have I can see a tower right. I'm maxed out in 4G. 13th. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. Friday, this is crazy. Go ahead.
So the whole Friday the 13th kind of fascinated me. I didn't know this till many years later, but this all stems from the Knights Templar, you know, how the King of France at the time, the Knights Templar became very, very powerful and loaned money to kings and different people that needed money, but they expected to be paid back. Well, the King of France at the time owed them so much money that he labeled them as heretics, and he got the church to say and they were practicing witchcraft and everything. So they sent out all these others and basically killed a whole bunch of them and tried to disband them, all in order to get rid of his debt. And he was in dire the whole kingdom was in dire financial consequences. And he basically sent an army after the Knights Templar and had them heretics and witches and stuff, and they killed a whole bunch of the leaders and everything else. And they had to, you know, and that's where it happened on Friday. The whole Friday the 13th curse comes from. So it's pretty fascinating. Everybody says that that's a bad luck day now, but you know, it's one of those things that's correlated in a tragic circumstance that it's never bringing bad luck. But I've never really had any bad luck on a Friday the 13th personally. Have you?
Yeah, I have. I've had bad luck and I've had good luck. But that curse, it was.
You know, it's just one of those things.
That curse was from that Jacques de la Malay. When they.
Yeah, Jacques de la Malay.
Yeah. He spoke of a curse and prophecy against the king and pope, and they both died within a year when he did that. Now, why did they put him to death? Why did they burn him at the stake?
They burned him because the king owed the Templars so much that he couldn't pay him back. So, you know, as a way to the Templars, he had him executed.
God, and they burned him to the stake, alive. That's horrible.
Yeah, they burned him. Yeah, they burned him. They burned him alive as a witch, because you know the Templars, the Knights Templars, and the makeup, they have some kind of weird little rituals they do and everything like that. So they used that against them to say they were witches and they were practicing witchcraft. And they were against the church, so they got the church. And as we know, in those days, the church was all powerful, man. Oh. If the church was involved, the church pretty much ran every country. Yeah. So if the church said you were a witch, you were in deep trouble. You know, you were in deep trouble. And the Templar was very powerful, became more powerful. I heard a beeping noise.
Yeah, you were frozen. Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Dave? Boy, tonight's the night.
Are we good?
No, not really. Go ahead. See if you're frozen, but can you hear? Can you talk? This is crazy. Okay.
Yeah, there's something wrong. There's something going wrong with Skype.
Okay, go ahead.
So.
Yeah, tonight's cursed.
Tonight is cursed.
It is.
All right, so going back to the Templars, if you join the Templars, you know, you're serving God and fighting for good and converting people from being not Christians to Christians. You had to give everything you owned, your property, your money, your land, to the cause. virtually rendering you penniless, but you were given everything you needed to go out and go on quests and go, fight the good fight for God and kingdom and everything else. So they had a lot of people joining, thousands and thousands of people, so they had a lot of money, and then they would loan money to kings and other highfalutin people, they were so powerful that actual kings were scared of them, and they had a lot of they had a lot of money, a lot of armor, a lot of knights, and they had their own standing army basically, and the French king owed them so much money, he had to do something drastically, because he thought when they come to collect, because they wanted their money back, that they would take him out of power, basically. So the king got the church, the Catholic Church involved, and they went and captured the leaders, Jacques de Molay and numerous other ones, and basically tried them for witchcraft and killed them all.
Wow.
And then the group was kind of disbanded. They had to get away, and they all just went off in different directions and whatnot.
Wow.
So that whole, when those guys were executed, that became the Friday the 13th, the unlucky day.
Wow,
and it's still thought of as that to this day. People really, a lot of people don't do stuff on Friday the 13th. Like, they don't go anywhere or do things because of that. It was King Philip, who owed them all the money.
Jeez.
The whole, and they, in the curse, the whole trial was a farce. They talk about how they were just railroaded, and basically executed for nothing because the king owed them so much money.
Yeah, I always wondered. I never knew how Friday the 13th came about.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of TV shows and different things that have talked about that curse and everything. And I didn't, growing up as a kid, I never knew that's what it was related to and why. I just, you just hear everybody talk, it's Friday the 13th, it's an unlucky day and all this stuff, but it actually stems from a curse, so a cursed day of bad fortune for the Knights Templar.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's, the next one, Dave. Let's do King Tut.
Oh, yeah, King Tut. Everybody knows who King Tut is, the boy king. Probably one of the most powerful and richest pharaohs to ever live. Died at a very young age. But in 1923, Howard Carter, an archaeologist, and it was a friend of his who was his financier, George Herbert, they actually found the boy king's tomb, and many had looked, everyone heard about this boy king and everything else, but nobody could find his tomb. Well, they finally found it, uncovered it, and opened it up. 2 months after they opened up that tomb, a lot of people that were involved died, including the head guys. And they said it was caused by blood poisoning from an infected mosquito bite on his cheek. And that was all speculation, because medicine in the early 1900s was horrible. And I find it hard to believe that they knew what caused his death at that time. That's just pure speculation in my opinion. But many of the pharaohs, it is said that curses are placed on their tombs and their crypts, and anyone who violates that is succumb to the curse of the mummies, and they will die, a horrible death. And many people, including many of the diggers and the people that were responsible for opening that tomb, died. So there's been studies done on it in more modern times, and I think it was like 44 people died, something like that, from opening the tomb up. But diggers, the actual head honchos, and more. So the curse that was placed on it is said to affect Westerners that were involved in it and Egyptians alike. So it didn't matter. 25 of the people that were present died died from strange illnesses that they couldn't figure out what were, and then I think it was a total of 44 that they know of died from a strange, coincidental things soon after opening that tomb. So there's a lot of legend and stuff that goes with that, and then King Tut's death himself, they theorize that he was murdered because he was so powerful and rich, and then he was so young that his competitors didn't want him to, because they knew he was going to be around for a long, long time, and it was said that he was murdered himself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with all that.
Yeah. All right. Our last one. This is crazy. Nailhead.
Okay. So I first came in contact with one of these things. They're called nail gods, and my good buddy David Weatherly knew about them. But I first came in contact with them when we went to Ripley's, believe it or not, and did our investigations there. When you see one of these things, you want to talk about something that feels very freaking ominous, man. You'll see this large, they could be any size, there's no specifications to them, but they're carved out of wood, usually in the form of a person. And when you see one of these things that are real, it's just, God, it's spooky. And you'll see them things covered with hundreds of nails, okay? And when I first came across it in Ripley's down there in Panama City, when me, Weatherly, and Sean Austin, we went down there and we were given the opportunity to investigate that museum, Ripley's Museum in Panama City, Florida. We came upon this thing, and I'm talking Weatherly. I said, "What is, give me some information on this. I see what it says, but give me some." And he's like, "Yeah, what it is in Africa and other countries, these types of figures are used by people, witch doctors specifically. So, say you got in a fight with your neighbor down in the other hut or whatever, right? You go to the witch doctor and you say, I want to put a curse on him. So you pay the witch doctor X amount of dollars, whatever he's charging. He drives a nail into this thing and puts a curse on that person for a set fee. Now, what he does then is, the people know that there's a curse on them, and they have to go to the witch doctor and pay him to take the curse off. So I was like, oh man, that's just creepy, So we decided at one point in our investigation, we are going to set up beside this thing and see, what we can get out of it. So if there's any energy attached to it, because there was literally thousands of nails in this one, and it was about 8 or 9 feet tall. This one, it was a huge one, and the one I sent you a picture of is another real one. I'll tell you about that after this, but. So we're in there, and we're setting up the equipment, and we're doing a live stream. I got my computer all set up, my laptop hooked to the camera and everything, and I bust out a ghost box, Andy's box, a special one that I have. And we're just getting started and everything, and this is what's so bizarre, okay? Out of nowhere, the ghost box says, "Behold, Spinks," and the computer shuts off, the lights shut off in there, and the ghost box shuts off.
Oh my God.
After we started trying to communicate, and ask questions near this nail god statue. And it was so bizarre, and everything just shut off. Like, it said, "Behold," and then it said my name. And you can see that video on the Society of Supernatural when that happened. It's crazy as all get out. And the ghost box didn't work for 2 weeks after that. And then one day it just turned back on. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen when it came to something like that. And I was around another real nail god. I was actually shooting an episode of The Unexplained for History Channel. And a lot of times on these shows, what they do is, instead of paying these huge studios or these movie companies set fees, there's people all around LA that rent their homes out to the production companies for filming purposes, right? So on that particular shoot, we had this lady had her house was being used, and this woman was also a producer, and her husband was too. And they had traveled all around the world, and they actually picked up one of those nail guards, and this was a small one, and I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
And it's a real one that has several nails in it. And I'm sitting there with this thing off to my right shoulder the whole time I'm filming, and I got this eerie cold breeze coming up behind me, and all this weird stuff was going on during the filming of the show. So it was pretty bizarre. So these things do, it goes right back to the whole energy thing and the intent. You're paying some witch doctor to put a curse on someone, so your intent is bad juju. He's putting that bad juju into this idol, and putting a ritual on some person for bad things to happen to them.
Yeah.
So it's all about energy and intent, and these curses, that's what they do. That's what they're based off of, whether it be a blood ritual, a sacrifice, just a simple curse like I hope you will die or something to that effect. Words can hurt, and words do carry energy. So, to me, it's all relevant to the paranormal field.
Okay, let's see. B3 Airspace. She said, Norene, ask Dave, what's the TV-looking thing in the statue's stomach? Let me go back.
I don't know. It's just a carved, it's just carved like that.
Oh, I'm showing.
Those are all hand carved by the witch doctors and whatnot.
Yeah. So what the purpose of that thing in the middle, I have no idea. Those things
are brought over from Africa or wherever they get them from, and they're used by witch doctors. They carve them, they put their energy and their spell work into them, and who knows? Maybe it's some kind of apparatus where they use it to like send that energy out or something. I don't know what it was for. But
do you think that it could be used to place something that belongs to the person, like hair or a piece of skin or something?
Yeah, most likely. If it's a form of voodoo, usually that's what they have to have. They have to have like hair or some item from that person to complete that curse or that spell.
Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome, Dave. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. But Dave, I want to do a show on cursed movies and cursed celebrities.
Yeah, I got a ton of stuff of that for the book too. We can talk about it anytime you want, and there's a lot more of those than people even realize too.
Oh yeah. That Poltergeist movie. That was one cursed movie. And I want to say that because I do. Let's do a show in a couple of months on cursed movies and movie stars. And of course, those movies also are connected to the movie stars that worked on the cursed movie. So it's all intertwined.
Yeah, a lot of the people involved in all the Poltergeist movies they died, and even the little girl died, out of weird circumstance, weird circumstance. She died out of nowhere. So, there's something to it all. The Native American guy, he died too. I mean, a bunch of them have. So.
Oh yeah, I think 3 people died from that movie.
Yep.
Okay, so a couple of people. Let's see. Scotty Chapman says, Dave, Norene, there's a shadow person behind Dave Spinks.
No, it's just a lighting.
Let's see. Is there any? Let's see. Royce isn't in here tonight, but we do have Renee McDowell. Thanks, Renee, honey, for showing up tonight and helping us out with she's one of our mods. Royce couldn't be here tonight. He's getting a new phone and a new computer, so he had no access to the internet. Do you guys have any questions for Dave? Okay, B3 Space, I think we answered your question, honey, about the thing in the middle of the stomach. Anybody else have any questions for Dave? Anybody?
Hope everybody staying safe from the coronavirus and staying safe. And I'm going to be doing some. You can check out my new TikTok channel too, where I'm posting, solid paranormal evidence that I've captured for many years. Just short video clips of nothing but in your face paranormal evidence.
Oh yeah, Renee wants you to know that it's Cassandra. Renee is Cassandra.
Yeah.
I know. It's Crystal Triplet.
I do have some cool news. I'll go ahead and share if you want me to.
Okay.
You know about it already.
Yeah, 1 second. Crystal Triplet, thanks, honey. She's one of our mods too, and she came in. Thank you. Hi. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so just for everyone's FYI, on May 20th, I will be on an episode of Ghost Nation with Jason Hawes and Steve and Tango.
Wow.
So make sure you check that out. And I'll have some new episodes coming up on the Unexplained on the History Channel. Ghost Nation, of course, is on Travel Channel. So check it out.
Oh, yeah, Dave. Oh, my God. I can't wait. That is so awesome. I can't wait. Let's see. No Scott Miller. I have no information on the Horsefly Chronicles. I'm not involved with that anymore. And I did have a show with Phil and Julia about a month or so ago, and they're supposed to have a reality show with the family and the ghosts that are in the house, and that's all I know. But we don't do the Horsefly. They have a Facebook page, Horsefly Chronicles, but I don't do the show anymore. Okay, so Nicole Johnson wants to know, is there a backstory to the number 27?
I'm looking into that, to be honest, to see if those numbers correlate with something that I may suspect that's going on with the number situation. But I can't confirm anything on it yet.
Okay.
Numbers play a lot of significant roles when it comes to the Bible and stuff. So that's kind of what I'm looking into with it, just to give you a little idea.
Let's see. Dana and Linda Richardson want to know, I guess, what you think of the Robert doll, if it's cursed. And I had done a show on Robert the doll. And what's your thought on that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those dolls or one of those things that has definitely got some sort of demonic entity attached to it, just like Annabelle, just like several other significant artifacts or dolls out there. There is some legitimate ones that really have a lot of negative energy attached to them for whatever reason.
Yeah. Let's see. Tallcross, you had a question, but I can't seem to find it, honey. Yes, everybody, please be safe out there. Do what your governor, your mayor tells you to do. It seems to be getting worse. I watch the news every day, and I hear that the more things they're finding out about this virus, it's really, really scary. And so be careful. Let's see.
Definitely.
Okay, so, thanks, Tallcross. But Tallcross, you have, Pinata Samurai wants to know, what is the name of your latest book that will be coming out?
I can't really say it because I have 3 different publishers that I use, so I don't know which one's going to get it out first. But I have volume 2 of West Virginia Hauntings that will be coming out in the near future. I have the Curse book, and I also have some new Bigfoot stuff coming out. I got like 5 books I'm working on right now, so I got a lot of new books coming out, and then probably toward the middle of the summer to the fall until early next year, I'll have several books coming out. So I have the Curses book, a Bigfoot book, and the Real West Virginia Hauntings Volume 2.
Oh, I have that. Dave's
I'll
books.
have that. That book you don't have that book yet.
I have Willow's Weep, UFO, West Virginia. Real West Virginia. We did a show on that, and I have And
That's volume 1.
oh, you got a volume 2.
Yeah, volume 2 will be coming out soon.
Oh, okay. Awesome, Dave. Jeez.
Also, I will be doing several states that will have the real attached to it. Like, I don't want to give them all out, but like it'll be like real Indiana hauntings, real Pennsylvania hauntings, so on and so forth.
All right, let's see.
Places I've investigated or all these different places. I'm doing books on all those places, all those states. So.
I am off. Alpha wants to know, Dave, have you ever looked into the weeping woman? She is seen flying around and screaming.
I've heard of the weeping woman, but I don't know where you're located. I mean, there's several different stories with a banshee woman flying type creature like that.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
There's the La Llorona, which is a Hispanic one. That is a woman whose children drowned in an arroyo ditch during a flood, and she is said to wander the night, searching for her drowned children. And if you come in contact with her, you're gonna die.
I think so that's the one they're talking about, La Llorona.
Yeah, Llorona.
Yeah.
Where I grew up. See, a lot of people don't know. I lived a lot of my young life in New Mexico because my stepdad was in the Air Force, and I had a lot of Hispanic friends, and they used to tell that story all the time. Don't go over there because the witch is going to get you. So.
Okay, so Tallcross made a statement, and Tallcross, you're absolutely right. He's had many antiques and had visits from shadow people and the feeling of being followed all the time. And yes, they are attached to the antiques. They are. Guaranteed they are.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah, if you buy an antique at a flea market or something, or an antique store, and all of a sudden stuff starts happening in your home, you better go take it back or do some blessings on it.
Okay, so Diane Bancardi said, "Hey Dave, do you think things have to be old to be cursed?"
No, I don't think so. I mean, have you ever seen the whole movie about Chucky the doll? That could happen with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like someone's favorite object, they die, and they want that. One of their fondest memories were playing with that object or using that object or whatever. It could have been a gift from a loved one. If they were that attached to that object, that could happen tomorrow. Someone had a favorite object, they died, their energy is still lurking around that object or whatever the case, and it becomes it starts having paranormal phenomenon around it. I've talked to many people over the years, that one of their loved ones would die, and that object that was one of their favorite things would move across the room, or a picture that was given to them by that person would fly across the room, kind of to let them know, hey, I'm still here, I'm watching, I'm here with you, or whatever. So it happens all the time, poltergeist type activity with these objects, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not all bad. It's not always bad stuff. I mean, but when we talk about cursed objects, we're talking about something or someone put some sort of spell on an object, or used a blood ritual, or had bad intent and cursed that particular object, whether it be a doll, a knife, a piano, it could be anything. So, that's when we talk about the negative in the curses type situation.
Yeah, that's weird. I could see how antiques, old things, because it's owned by so many people and there's so much going on in someone's home and wherever the atmosphere is, but something new to be cursed, that's kind of strange how that would happen, Dave. A brand new object.
If it was a cursed object, whether it was new, if it was a new type situation, I think it would almost have to be used in some sort of ritual, or a curse placed upon it by some sort of person conducting a spell of some sort. Or maybe take for instance, there's kind of a, I've seen it several times. There's this one story of this camera that had some type of demonic entity attached to it because it was used by a serial killer, right? And he was taking pictures of these women he was killing and whatnot. And then it became part of the police, the police inventory and evidence locker. And then over the years, those items get sold off, or they end up in a junk pile. Somebody finds them and sells them. And then this unknowingly family bought this camera for a real cheap price, give it to his girlfriend for a Christmas present. Next thing you know, all this crazy stuff's happening because that serial killer was a real twisted SOB and was using that camera as he was torturing his victims. So that camera has that energy attached to it because he got his rocks off when he was doing that type of thing. Jeez. So that's one scenario out of 100,000 different ones, Or a particular weapon was used to kill 20 people. Maybe it's cursed, because it has the blood of those 20 victims on it, or whatever the case.
Yeah, that's awful, Dave. That's really awful. I never heard that. Okay. Now, anything else you want to share and tell the viewers about?
Please check out my website. It's, Norene mentioned it, www.DaveSpinks.ParanormalInvestigator.com. Check out my TikTok page. If you want to see some cool paranormal evidence I've captured over the years, I'll be posting at least one new video a week. It's really taken off. I got Instagram, Facebook, all that's linked to my website, except for the TikTok. The TikTok's Dave Spinks 1569. And soon I'm going to be doing some more investigations and working on some different stuff for some different projects I'm working on. So, and I'm still, with this corona thing, we're kind of limited on what we can do, but I can still go out and do certain things and abandoned places that there's no people at, basically.
Yeah.
So, until we get this thing figured out or whatever, but lots of stuff still coming, books coming out. Just still doing what I do,
Well, Dave, you're one of my favorite guests. You always have so much awesome information. I'd love to have you on the show. And we will do, later on this year, let's do a show on the cursed movies, okay?
Yeah, that's all part of the book, on the curses book I'm doing, so I got plenty of information on some of that stuff. And, it's fun. It's kind of macabre, but it's also fun to talk about because, it's so weird. Some of the stuff is so bizarre. And these things really do happen to people, so.
Oh, yeah.
Are they curses or are they just pure coincidence? I don't think so.
Awesome, Dave. Thanks, honey. Thanks so much for being on the show. Have a great weekend and be safe, okay?
My pleasure, hon.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Always love having Dave on the show. Let's do some shout outs, and I want to thank my two mods tonight. Again, Royce couldn't make it. He has no internet service and no phone. He's getting a new phone and a new computer, and so he should be here for the next show. We've got another show in 2 weeks. I got an email from Keith Linder, the Demon House from Seattle, and he asked to come back on the show. Guess what? Ghost Hunters is going to do a show on his haunted house that he lived in, the Demon House of Seattle. We have no idea. It's called the Demon House Decoded, and I don't know if they're going to tear his house apart, ridiculing it, or what they're going to do. So that's on May 21st on Ghost Adventures. So May the following week, Keith is going to watch the show, and then he's coming on the 28th, and he wants to talk about or debunk whatever they're saying about his house. So that's the show on the 28th. It should be an interesting show, and hope you can catch that show on the 21st with Ghost Adventures. I'm really curious as to what they're going to say. Because, when the first time that they went to his house, they said his house wasn't haunted. And I've done several shows with Keith and showed evidence and the crazy things that went on in his house. It's really crazy. So that's what's happening on the 28th, okay? And so again, I want to thank my mods, Cassandra 50, which is Renee Dowling, and for Crystal Triplet. Thank you too I thank you so much for coming in. I want to do a shout out to my super chat who gave super chat money tonight: Victoria, Robert Hanna, Karen Baugh, and Linda Richardson. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you. And I appreciate all of you coming into the show tonight. So let's do some shout outs, okay? I'm going to have to do it from here. Royce usually gives me a printout, but okay, so let me see if I can do this. Oh gosh, this is terrible trying to do this. Okay, Chippa Terry, hi Chipper. Dave Beetle, hi Beetle. Scotty Chapman. Scotty, are you new to the show? I don't remember seeing your name before. B3 Airspace, hi Beat. Nicole April, hi Nicole. Linda Richardson, hi Linda Richardson. Robert Hanna, hi Robert Hanna. Deity Paranormal, hi. Are you new to the show as well? I don't remember seeing your name, honey. Let's see. Okay. A lot of you are leaving now. Leonora Martinez, hi Leonora. Diane Biancardi, hi Diane. Pinata Samurai, hi Pinata. And oh hi, I am Alpha. Anybody else want to shout? I know I'm missing people. Anita Ackerman, hi honey, there you are. EEQQ. And I know Carl White's out there, and I know Tallcross. Tallcross, where are you? He's my buddy from Scotland. Let's see. Kathy Salento? Hi, Kathy. Anybody? Alicia Franco. Hi, Alicia. Anybody else? Laura. Oh, Laura Bell. Hi, Laura. Great. Oh, thank you so much, Laura. Susie Farrell. Hi, Susie. Yes, I can't wait to do a show on the cursed movie stars and movies. I love that topic. Okay, let's see. Scott Miller. Yes. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Dana. Hi, Dana. I did Nicole. Let's see. Who am I missing? We had a nice crowd tonight. I'll get the numbers when the show ends. M. Dane. Hi. Downfall. Hi. There's Tallcross. Thank you, honey. Be safe with those antiques. Maybe you should do a little saging and a blessing. Kashav Shaw. Hi. Anybody else? Am I missing? Jason Evans. Hi, Jason Evans. Thank you. I'm Philadelphia. I'm from Philadelphia. Love Pennsylvania. Let's see. Denise Moore. Hi, Denise. Karen Baugh. Hi, Karen. Thank you for the money. Let's see. Who am I missing? I can't. This is kind of hard. I'm so used to Royce. Sean Potvin. Hi, Sean. Okay. Who am I missing? We had a lot of people, but a lot of them don't come into chat. Yes. I don't know if he owns any haunted items, but he owns a haunted house. He owns the Willow's Weep. Okay, so I'm going to have to edit the show from the beginning. It'll probably take away my chat, all the history of the chat. Montronista. Hi. But I'm going to have to, because I think it was 10 minutes of lost audio, so I'm just going to have to chop some of it off. Anybody else want to shout out? Did I miss anybody? We had a lot of people here tonight, but they're all logging off now. And like I said, a lot of them aren't in chat, but they watch the show. Okay, did I miss anybody? If I did, I'm sorry. Oh, Zoe Small. I don't know if you're still there, honey. Hi, Zoe. First look. First last. Hi. Anybody? Oh, these lights are killing me. Anybody? Gloria Ryan. Good night. Anybody else? Maria Sanders. Sanders. Hi, Maria. Oh, thanks, Maria. I love the food pictures too. Maria Sandra Amador. Tammy Heitzman. Hi, Tammy. Dwayne Crump. Smooches back, honey. Moratza Arf. Hi. Amy D. Artist. Hi, Amy. Anybody else? Oh, Aaron Brody. Hi, honey. You're still here. Hi. Oh, God. Susie Farrell. Hi, honey. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? Anita Ackerman. Yes. Hey, everybody, stay safe, please. You know, even though... Hi, Misty Dawn. Haley and Crazy Mom. Candy. Awesome. Carlos Rivera. I haven't seen you for a while. You know, just because they say you can go out, please be careful. Please be careful. It's scary. Anybody else? Alicia Franco. Thank you, Alicia, for the super chat money. Thank you so much. Oh, God, I don't know. Did I miss anybody now? Oh, the real McCoy. Good night. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go now. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you in 2 weeks, okay? Don't forget, 2 weeks. Hey, you know, if you subscribe to the channel, I'll put the link up to the new show, and all you have to do is hit it, and you'll get a notification that the show is going live, okay? Hi, Scott. The sending out the emails weren't working. I don't know what happened, but they're not working. So I'm not sending out the emails. I'm going to try and change my website around and get a different kind of email, because I think the emails are going into your spam, so you're not getting them. So anyway, all I have to do is click on a show reminder on the front page of my channel and you'll get an alert, okay? So everybody, don't forget to give the show a like. Please, if you haven't subscribed, if you would please subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Love you guys. Group hug. And please be safe out there, okay? Good night, everybody. Thank you. Good night.